Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and some of you guys love to comment on my YouTube or tweet me on Twitter or even somehow send me a message on my personal Instagram, which I don't know how you guys find, asking me how do you climb in competitive rank, but more importantly, how do you deal with the throwers while trying to climb? And I'm just like... Bruh, just don't lose and you'll win! No, but all jokes aside though, we've all had to deal with throwers, and we've all put throwers on our avoid list, but sometimes it's just not enough. Probably because 3 spots isn't enough to be able to avoid multiple people that you're running into a nightly session of competitive. So that's why I'm making this video to, 1, tell you that putting someone on the avoid list is not the only way that you can ensure that throwers will not be in your game, but also just tell you what you should be doing while someone's throwing on your team, because I guarantee you if someone's throwing, your first response is be like, oh my god, someone's throwing, oh my god, this is so stupid, I don't even want to play this game anymore. Want to know what you're not doing, bruh? You're not playing the game, you're more focused on the thrower. So that's why I'm making this video, to shine light on ways that you can deal with people, but also how you can deal with the situation itself, because sometimes competitive Overwatch is more mind over matter. So even though I made a whole entire list suggesting of ways to ensure that throwers will not be in your competitive game, or at least won't be in future competitive games, the first, and yes, obvious way that you can ensure that they will not be in your game is to put them on your avoid player list. I'd be stupid not to suggest this, but I want to quickly talk about this and ways that we can improve on this. Now, I'm not necessarily talking about increasing the spots, because I'm sure a lot of people will want 20 spots so that they can avoid a bunch of players. You have to understand that if you continue to avoid players, well, you won't be matching with anybody eventually because you avoid the whole player base. However, one issue that I have with the avoid player option is that you avoid 3 players and they expire after about 7 days. But I guarantee you we've all run into that one person that we just absolutely despise. Not just because of the heroes that they play, but also their personality. So one thing that I want to suggest is to have a permanently avoid player option. Have 1 spot for every single account that you can just permanently avoid 1 player for. And after you avoid that 1 player, they are out of your life, but you cannot refill or rechange that spot. But the second way that you can actively avoid throwers coming into your game is not to queue up right away after you just had a thrower. Because something that a lot of players don't understand is that you have to wait for your previous match to finish. Even if you queue up right after the game ends or right after play of the game, you still have to wait for that timer to finish in the top left-hand corner. So if you queue up during play of the game, well, you're not gonna find a match up until that timer ends. And if that timer ends and that thrower queues up right after that timer ends, well, it's like you both queued up at the same exact time. So if you're wanting to avoid that person, well, yes, it's pretty simple to not queue up right away, but understand that queuing up even faster won't do anything. But the third way that you can actively avoid throwers coming into your future competitive games that might only work on Xbox, but if it works on PlayStation or PC, let me know. But it's after the game ends and they already threw your game, look at that thrower's profile, and if they're appearing online, it will tell you if they're queuing up for a competitive match in menus, or it will tell you if they're in game. If it says that they're queuing up for a game, do not queue until it says this player is in a competitive game, because you're probably going to be queuing up with them since they're around your SR already and you're queuing up at the same time. Now, I just want to let you guys know that this trick will only work if the player's profile is appearing online on Xbox. I don't know if this even works on PC or PlayStation. It might work for PlayStation, but if they are appearing offline, it will literally say offline. Now, are they really hiding offline? Probably not. They're probably just queuing up for another competitive game to maybe throw another game. So, if you know that they're appearing online and it says they're queuing up, just don't queue. But the fourth thing that I can suggest to you guys might seem a little bit stupid, but just hear me out. Because one problem I have with the avoid player option is that all 3 of those players are just going to expire after 7 days, and I have a chance to possibly queue up with them. So the suggestion that I have, which might sound stupid, but it's to actually add that player's profile if that player's profile is appearing online. That way you can keep tabs of that player, and that can tell you when to queue and when not to queue. Even even if they expire off of your avoid player list, you will be able to see what they're doing and void them yourself. And I know this works on PlayStation and PC because even if it doesn't tell you what they're doing in Overwatch, if you see that they are online and they are playing Overwatch, who's to say they're not playing competitive Overwatch? And if you've been having a bad day and you don't want to tilt in competitive and you see that player online, well, now you know not to queue up, because the possibilities of queuing up with that one specific player after filling up your 3 spots is probably gonna be very high. But the 5th way that you can actively avoid throwers is gonna be a does statement, but I really have to explain why you don't want to do this so that when you're in the situation, you understand, because this is easier said than done. But when all 3 spots of your avoid player list is filled up and you have another thrower, just turn off your Xbox, turn off your PlayStation 4 or PC, and try again tomorrow. Because according to the algorithm, what's going to happen is that you're probably going to queue with this player again, especially the higher you are, like in top 500 GM, or the lower that you are in bronze and silver, because there's less players in those regions of ranks. And especially later into the night, I'm talking about like midnight to 6 a.m., there are low amount of players queuing for competitive Overwatch because most people are asleep. So if you're very low ranked and you're playing super late, you're gonna queue with them again. There is no doubt in my mind. But let's say you even did avoid this thrower, who's to say that they won't queue up and be on the enemy team with 5 new players also throwing that game? So once the game ends, there's gonna be 5 new players that's gonna be angry because they had to deal with that same player and then queue up at the same time with you, get on your team, get all angry, get on tilted at each other because they just had to deal with that same thrower. And he's not even in the game anymore, but that just means you're not focused on the game because you're all so angry. This is why I say Overwatch is such a mentally heavy game, because if you were just to shut off everything, you wouldn't have to deal with people that just got affected by that thrower. You're going to be refreshed, you're not going to be sleep deprived, you're going to be not hangry, and you're just going to be a much better player because you're not all tunnel vision, you're not all angry, you're not all and whatnot. You're a refreshed player. And that is why you want to turn off everything once you just dealt with the thrower. It's not just for you, but it's also to avoid the other players that are dealing with the crap of late night competitive. And after listening to my list, you're probably thinking, oh, well, I don't want throwers to begin with in my game. How do I avoid those players? And that's the beauty and the curse about Overwatch, because it involves imperfect people that are gonna be, well, imperfect. You can't control everything that happens. So just realize, hey, someone's throwing, try to do everything I just suggested in this video, and don't cry about it because it was out of your control, and just move on to the next game. So anyway guys, I love you guys, thank you guys for watching, more Overwatch videos to come, and bye.